Hey, this is Tom, and we got a big problem right now. The whole Twitter deal is basically going sideways. And not from the corporate side. That obviously is going to work itself out. I mean, nobody has an interest for this deal not to go through. I believe the deal is 100% happening, even though Elon took a few shots at the current chief legal officer, whatever she is, I don't know. And they might say that this is a breach of their own agreement. Elon can't basically talk trash about them. I mean, what's their interest? Let's say they pursue this. Do they really want to cancel the deal and not sell at $54.20? I mean, the deal will go through, in my opinion. The problem with the whole Twitter deal isn't the corporate side. The problem is the whole discussion on Twitter right now, which kind of ironically, people miss the whole point of this. The whole point of why Elon purchased this is because there was one side was getting to talk their piece, their narrative, and if you went sideways from that narrative, they shut you up. So he's buying the platform to release this. However, much like in different situation when you have a victim and that victim is looking to lash out, the counter reaction can be quite severe. And what's happening right now is that people are talking about, oh, this is the end of the woke. Now we're back. And they're missing the point. If you think about the whole Twitter takeover by Elon as defeating the woke and getting the right back on Twitter, that goes against everything Elon is trying to do. This isn't about the woke, the left, the right, the middle, the giraffes, the men, the women. It's not about that. The whole idea is about nobody having a monopoly. It's about everybody sharing the stage, having the same amount of voice. Nobody is deemed the truth and somebody deemed misinformation. Basically, when you're trying to shut people up because for a long time they've been shutting you up, you're just as bad as them. Think about it. The whole idea of democracy, the whole idea of an absolute freedom of speech is for you to be able to respect opinions that make you mad. It's not about you listening to people who agree with you. That's called an echo chamber, my guy. That's not freedom of speech. The whole idea of freedom of speech is you being able to sit in the same room with somebody, hear something that makes you triggered as I don't want to say fuck. Fuck. Makes you triggered as fuck. And you being able to sit there, tolerate it, and let him finish what he has to say without interrupting him, without punching him in the nose. That's the whole idea. Now, here's my 2 cents about it. We've seen this before. For example, with the whole Me Too movement, right? Something that started off amazing. That should have been done a long time ago. And it completely spiraled out of control. If you don't agree with me, unsubscribe, no problem. You don't have to agree with me, but that's how I feel about it. The same thing happened with cinema. In cinema, women were misrepresented for a long time. What happened? The opposite happened. Now, one side is getting misrepresented, and the other side is basically saying, well, we don't have any cool male characters anymore in films. Sorry, it's just this very specific narrative where only female characters get the leads. And I mean, as a dad of two girls, I kind of agree with that. I mean, cinema has become a little bit of trash. It's the same narrative push. So whenever you're trying to compensate for something, there's a very dangerous situation where you can overcompensate. And I fear, like it happened with Me Too, like it happened with cinema. And I'm sorry for my bad English and my mistakes. I mean, this isn't my first language, and I'm not editing this. This is completely raw. But I'm saying the same thing can happen with Twitter. The same mistakes can happen. If we, the people who come back to Twitter and basically say, hey, you all who've been basically setting the narrative, y'all better sit the fuck down and we're going to be dominating the platform from now on. That isn't absolute freedom of speech. That isn't what Elon is pushing for. I just want you to know that. The whole idea is to fix something that's been broken for a long time. As somebody who came from outside the US, I've seen this happen, and it was painful for me to see this happen, where the ability of people in America to disagree with each other and have a meaningful discussion, talk about points they disagree with each other without screaming at each other, without blocking each other, without punching each other, has basically died. There's no way in America anymore to talk to each other about things we disagree about. For example, politics. For example, gender stuff, right? For example, pretty much anything that has to do with the way we want to live our lives. So if we disagree, we watch different television shows. I watch Fox or I watch CNN. My friend or my neighbor, he watches the other show, either Fox or CNN. I basically block who I don't want to hear to on Twitter, and I never see their opinions. And even worse, these platforms won't even show me their stuff because they know it will make me upset. And why make me upset, right? I want to stay on the platform, right? More ad revenue. So they're going to show me things I agree with. And basically, we've been living in echo chambers for a very, very, very long time. Please do not support people who support turning Twitter into a different echo chamber. The whole idea is to free up the platform, let you hear things that I know you deep inside, and redevelop, reintroduce the ability of our society to talk to each other on things we don't agree with and have a handshake at the end of it. Basically, like in a good fight, come shake the hand of your opponent, say, thank you, we agree to disagree. Appreciate you telling what you feel. I feel differently, but it's okay. We'll talk about it some more. All the best. Instead of turning it into this dehumanization. Right now, when you look at it, you basically see people that dehumanize the other party. If they don't agree with you, then they're basically reduced to rubble. I don't think that should be the case. So, in my view, let Elon do his thing and understand that the idea here isn't to punish a certain group, even though they've been misbehaving, even though they acted like shit, even though they abused their power when they had it. Doesn't mean that you should be the same. In fact, you can prove that you're better by actually allowing them to have a voice just like you. And Elon said the same thing. If you don't agree with me, look at what Elon is saying. Elon said specifically that. I hope my worst critics stay on the platform once I own it. I hope my worst critics stay on the platform once I own it. That's exactly the point. Don't forget why he's doing that. Now, I know a lot of you will unsubscribe because of this video, because I talked about politics and gender and stuff like that. So be it. I'm good with that. No problem. We can agree to disagree. I still love you. I still respect you. All the best.